Am I a virgin?
Likes you like all of men like you, so how does it how does it feel being this?
I finally got them, all generations.
Right.
Well, your breasts.
My breast.
You seem to get furious when a talk show host comes up with...
A lot of people would see you as a sex kitten.
I really don't know what my have to do with it.
All the girls are talking about Sydney Sweeney selling like her bathwater for soap or whatever, but I just saw a video and someone did an unboxing of it and there is a hole in the center of the bar.
A sex symbol is someone, usually a woman in the context of Hollywood, who is widely regarded as a paragon of physical attractiveness and sexual appeal. These individuals often become cultural icons, with their desirability taking precedence over their artistry or personal identity. While this visibility can lead to fame and fortune, it also comes with a loss of creative freedom and long-term career risk, as their physicality is always the topic of interest. A prime example is Marilyn Monroe, arguably the most famous sex symbol in the history of Hollywood. Despite her roles in classics like Some Like It Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Monroe has often been remembered more for her platinum blonde bombshell persona than for her acting chops. Her talent was routinely overshadowed by her looks, and even today, debates persist over whether she was ever truly seen as a serious actress. This legacy illustrates the trap that comes with the label, fame without full respect. Hollywood has always had its fair share of sex symbols, from Marilyn Monroe to Megan Fox, and even Scarlett Johansson. These women are remembered for their allure as much as, if not more than, their talent. Being labeled a sex symbol can open doors, but it can also trap women in a narrow lane. For many, the designation comes with a ticking clock. Audiences and creatives alike struggle to separate the woman's body from her work, often reducing her to her appeal rather than her abilities. Sydney Sweeney is the latest to inherit this legacy. The question now is whether she can navigate beyond it as the likes of Scarlett, or if, like so many before her, she'll be boxed in by it. Sydney Sweeney is everywhere, from the moody hallways of Euphoria to high-fashion red carpets and viral TikTok edits. She has become one of Hollywood's most talked-about stars. But at the center of that conversation isn't just her acting, it's her body. More specifically, how she presents it, how the public consumes it, and how she both benefits from and suffers under a culture that just won't stop sexualizing her. There's no denying that Sydney Sweeney is incredibly talented. Her breakout roles in Euphoria and The White Lotus showcased a vulnerability and emotional range that few of her peers can match. She's also a producer, a trained MMA fighter, and even a vintage car enthusiast who restores vehicles in her downtime. On paper, she's the kind of multidimensional woman that feminism can and should celebrate. But among women, especially those aware of the broader feminist struggle, there's a sense of betrayal. Rather than using her platform to push the conversation forward, she's seen as perpetuating a reductive narrative, that women's power lies in how desirable they are to men. Sydney's story is a microcosm of a wider issue, how empowerment has been flattened into marketability. In the eyes of some, Sweeney isn't pushing feminism forward. She's looping it back through the same loop-the-loop of sexual objectification we thought we'd left behind. Her image is one of autonomy, but it still panders to the same audience that cheered when Marilyn Monroe bent over a subway grate. There's nothing inherently wrong with embracing sex appeal. The problem is when it becomes your only tool. When your talent, range, and ambition all take a back seat to how good you look in a bath. Let me explain. On paper, Sydney Sweeney's choices shouldn't feel so controversial. After all, many celebrities, like Sabrina Carpenter, have also leaned into their physical appeal and benefited from it. Yet there is a stark difference in how audiences, especially women, are reacting to Sydney. Sabrina Carpenter's sensuality has often been paired with an overt sense of artistic identity and performance. Her use of appearance complements her work, it doesn't define it. With Sydney, however, the overwhelming focus on her looks in both roles and marketing has left many female viewers feeling that she's actively contributing to a culture that already overvalues women's bodies. Sydney Sweeney often frames her branding as empowerment. By participating in provocative campaigns and embracing her sexual image, she aligns herself with third-wave ideals, celebrating sexual freedom and body positivity. However, many critics argue that her actions feel regressive in the context of fourth-wave feminism, where the focus has shifted to dismantling systemic misogyny rather than repackaging it for profit. This is where the backlash comes in. Before we dive deeper into the feminist perspective and cultural consequences of this image-driven trajectory, now might be a good moment to invite you to be part of more conversations like this. If you're finding value in this breakdown, if these ideas make you think differently about celebrity culture and the way we consume public figures and influencers, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Sweeney appears to actively cater to the male gaze, profiting from the way men sexualize her. From her wardrobe choices to her ad campaigns, photo shoots, and even the characters she chooses to portray, the camera lingers in ways that aren't about character, but consumption. In a world where women have fought tirelessly to be seen as more than just bodies, especially in male-dominated industries like Hollywood, Sweeney's approach feels like a step backward. While she has the right to embrace her sexuality, the concern lies in the how and why. Specifically, the fact that it's being commodified to appeal to male fantasy, rather than to empower herself or other women. This kind of branding, while clickable and memeable, can quietly tank an actress's credibility. It's hard to cast someone in a dramatic, nuanced role when their most viral moment of the year was a soap ad inviting men to imagine bathing with her. It chips away at the gravitas required for serious acting, especially for women trying to escape the hot girl archetype Hollywood clings to. In a 2024 interview with The Times, Sweeney expressed frustration with how people feel entitled to comment on and sexualize her body. People feel free to say things or objectify me in a way that's so disrespectful. It's like they think I've signed my life away and that I have no control. That's a valid criticism, but it also exposes a contradiction. If Sydney truly feels dehumanized by the gaze constantly placed on her, why does she keep feeding into it? If Sydney weren't actively profiting from the way men sexualize her, perhaps the backlash wouldn't sting so sharply. Like Britney Spears, who throughout her career was relentlessly sexualized by the media and her management, Sydney is caught in the crosshairs of public scrutiny. But there's a critical difference. Spears never fully fed into that image by choice. She was exploited, controlled, and often pushed into hypersexualized portrayals against her will. Her story is a tragedy of exploitation. Sydney Sweeney stands at a cultural crossroads, not just in her career, but in how she's perceived within the ongoing feminist dialogue. Her choices highlight the tension between personal freedom and collective progress. While every woman should have the agency to define her own path, those in the public eye also carry the weight of representation. And when those choices seem to align more with old paradigms than new possibilities, criticism becomes inevitable. In an era that demands more from its cultural icons, Sydney Sweeney's branding feels like a beautifully packaged echo of the past, one that many women hoped we'd already left behind. And perhaps that's the heart of the backlash: disappointment. Disappointment that someone with so much promise and influence might not be using her power to elevate the conversation, but to cash in on the oldest stereotype in the book. It will always be a tragedy to see a young, promising woman with real talent and potential subject herself so completely to the male gaze, especially when the world is desperate for leading women who challenge the status quo, not reinforce it. And now we turn the conversation over to you. What do you think of Sydney Sweeney's branding choices? Is she taking control of her image or playing into a system that objectifies her? Does it hurt her career or reflect a new kind of stardom? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
I love my male audience. I'm always happy to put out films that garner a good response from a strong male audience, But I have to say that it's more flattering to me when I have girls that come up to me and they go, oh, I love that movie.